In this video, we are going to create a score counter that we can increase by clicking on a button. Now let's start by creating a new folder with the name click for score, create a new scene with the node of type a node and call it click for score. Let's save this inside of our click for score folder. We are going to add two more child nodes to the scene. We are going to need a button and a label. Now let's configure the button and label to make it actually look like something. The text of the button increase score. And for the label, let's type score : and make one just as an example text. Now let's kind of center it, just eyeball it. And now we are going to increase the font size for both. For the label, we can scroll down to theme overrides, styles, no, not styles, font size, and increase it to, let's say, 100. And for the button, you can scroll down to theme overrides and font sizes and also make it 100. So this is good enough for this example right here. We can see everything and yeah, let's run the current scene. Yeah, looks great. Now we're going to attach a script to the root node of this scene. We want that when we click this button, this score counter to increase by, let's say, 1. To make it work, we are going to use the pressed signal of the button and connect it to the root node of this scene. Now we can check what this signal actually does by deleting all of this and just type something, a string. Now run the scene. When we click on the button, you will see an output in the console. So whenever we click this function body, everything we write inside of this function body will be executed. Good to know. We can use this to increase the counter when we click on the button. How are we going to make this work? First of all, we need a way to update the text of this label. So the text property of this label, we need to find a way to update it. Let's check this out first. For this, we can grab the label like this with the $, and then we can select the text property by writing a point and then the name of the property. With the $, we say go and find a child of this root node right here with the name label. So if we were to change the name of this, like this, then our code would break. Let's print this out to check it and then run it. And when we click, our code breaks because invalid access to property or key text on a base object of type null instance. Godot cannot find a child node with the name label anymore. So we need to update it to score label. And now run again and you will see now the code works again. Now to actually change the text property of this score label, we need to reassign it. We know by checking the text property right here that this property text is of type string or needs a string value. And a string always starts with those quotation marks. Let's make it hello world and run again. Now as soon as we click this button, this code is being executed. Let's see what this does. We basically reassign the score label's text property to hold the string hello world instead of the string we put inside the editor right here. So this is how we can override or update the text. Now we are going to do something like this score. Yeah, we just leave it like this for now. Now we have to think about the number. We need to somehow store this value and increase it. So therefore we are going to create a variable and call it score. Make it of type int, a whole number, and let's initialize it with the value 0. And now to put this variable, the value of this variable inside of this string, we need to use string concatenation, basically meaning adding two strings. We can use the plus sign for this. As you can only add strings to strings, we need to convert this int value to a string value using this str method or function. So we can put the score variable inside of it, and let's see what this does. Now every time we click, we update this text to be score 0. And now the last step is to find a way to increase the score value. The shorthand for increasing a variable is this. And we can choose to increase it by 1. So now every time this code runs, meaning when we press the button, we increase the score by 1 and update the score labels text property to be this string. And because we increase the score value right here, it gets the updated score value. So let's check this out. We reached our goal. We can clean it up a little bit. We can use the ready function or method to set the initial text of this label to be the actual score value. So we grab this line, copy paste it, and now we should start at 0, and as soon as we click on the button, we go 1 up every time. We can remove the print statement now because everything is working as intended. The key takeaway from this exercise is updating a value and showing it in the UI are two different steps. You will always somehow calculate change values, and after you change the value, you will always kind of want to, or if you want to show them in a UI, you want to update the value inside of this UI. So changing the values behind the scenes, so to speak, and then show it to the public. Changing and showing, changing and showing. If you have copied this and make it work and run, then I encourage you to delete all of this, reset this project, and try to replicate this project out of your memory. If you can manage to do it without peeking and straight out of your mind, you're good to go. As always, repetition is key. You can do this as often as you want. When I learned, I just repeated stuff like this again and again and again to burn it into my memory. So yeah, have fun with this one. See ya.